Welcome, Neil.
How are you? You good?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Very
How was upstairs with the masses?
Well, I'm going to say I haven't even had my dinner yet because I've been pulled here, there, and everywhere. So yeah.
I felt really bad. I went up and I thought you finished your dinner. And then we were
I got taken to there. I thought at least I get a nice meal tonight. I've had none of it.
You're lapped through the game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, welcome back. Is it your first time back?
No. I came Wrexham start of last season, and then Colchester start of this season. I've been scarce, but you know it keeps everyone interested in me if I don't come.
I would say you enjoying the break? Not that everyone wants a break normally, but are you sort of?
I'm at the point of boredom now.
Yeah.
My golf handicap's come down by about 3 shots. But I'm now a granddad, so which is nice. My granddaughter lives at our house with us, so having that time with her has been magical. But yeah, I've been watched loads of games. Went to Sutton York on Saturday. I've been watching Ebbsfleet. I've watched about sort of 10 games in the last few weeks, and it's nice to keep your eye in, keep an eye on players and tactics, etc., etc.
So you say to keep an eye on players. Obviously, 2 players in our starting 11 today that you would have worked with: Callum Maycock and James Ball.
Yeah, still got team lineup.
We'll get that team news up. Just not to put any comments towards Johnny Jackson, but what are your thoughts on the team today and players you've seen before? Thoughts of?
To be fair, I think Johnny and Craig and everyone that's put their effort in on the recruitment's done a really good job. I think it's a really balanced squad. Obviously, for me, Jake Reeves is vital to the team. He makes them tick. I think whoever you play around him, Callum Maycock's a really underrated player. I think you guys will really like him by the end of the season. You'll struggle to get a word out of him, but he's a really good player. And obviously, I've had Josh Kelly at Solihull, and he's got something slightly different to what Bugle or Stevens will bring, but they've all got good qualities, and I hope you give Ipswich a really good game tonight because it's going to be a tough one.
Joe Piggott, obviously a man you signed in January of 2018.
Yeah.
How glad are you to see him back at Plough Lane?
Well, they always say don't go back, don't they? But I do think that the players who come to this club, that it takes them probably a month or 2 to really know the story and the history, and then they buy into this football club. And Pigs was one of them players. He went on to some big clubs and it hasn't quite materialised. So when he comes back to a club that meant a lot to him, that is pretty special and pretty unique, you'd like to think it just reignites that fire in his belly and you might get a really good version of it. It's not like he's over the hill, is it?
That's when we signed him. He's still only 30. You forget that, don't you, with that sort of ages. So he's sort of come back in. He's not a starter, a regular starter. He's still taking a bit of time to build up his. Obviously, when you're not playing for so long, it takes you a little while, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the front 4. I think this is probably the first time you've had a front 4 like in your squad. You look at my front 4 I had in that year.
When was the last time you had a front 4?
Well, with Akinfenwa, Tom Elliott, Lyle Taylor, and probably the only one that was more of a regular sub was Adi Aziz. The rest of them just rotated, and I've seen that Johnny's already done that. And the good thing is, both scored in the first game of the season, both scored in the first round of this cup. So already they've got a goal on there, and the confidence is there. So hopefully they'll carry on this season.
As a manager, how amazing it to have your 4 strikers get 4 goals in the first 2 games.
Yeah, massive. You know one thing, when I was at Solihull Moors, we got to the playoff final, and we had so many goals in our team. I think we scored 83 goals that season. And if the opposition scored, yeah, go on, we walk down, we know we're going to create, we know we got goals. Whereas I've also had a team at Wimbledon, ironically, where we struggled in the transfer window, and we were short on real goals and strikers. And when that goal goes in against you, you almost think, where are we going to get a goal from? So having goals in your team is a massive, massive plus, and hopefully not only the strikers, but Callum Maycock, James Ball, and the wing backs, they'll all contribute.
What's Callum's strengths? Because there's a goal pre-season we scored where he slid in Josh Kelly.
Yeah.
Is his strength breaking in between those and
joining up? Callum Maycock is very quick, runs all day, can run the legs off most players, can handle the ball in really tight areas, so he can play good football with him, and he passes and moves. He runs off the ball really, really well, makes third man runs. He hadn't scored before I arrived at Solihull, but the season we got to a playoff final, he scored 6 or 7 from midfield. But he won't shoot from 35 yards. He can't. He's not very good in the air, and he can't hit a 30-yard diag across the pitch. He keeps it neat and tidy, but his strength is he's a box-to-box 8, and a very good one at that.
Yeah, I think that's what we needed, though. We needed someone who's going to get, like you said, between the lines and really just connect that defence and attack.
He can do that.
Because you've got the players that can play those. Like Riley Hardboss has already shown he can hit a 30-yard diag. That's fine. That's ticked off. I think it's nice to have that. But Ali Smith and James Ball, who are big blokes, they're going to cause trouble. And then you need someone that's tactical and operating.
Callum can handle the ball in tight areas. He uses his body exceptionally well. I mean, in training regularly, he would keep the ball in tight areas. So he's me and Kopi both know all his strengths and weaknesses. So when we talked about him in the summer, Kopi, I couldn't speak high enough of him, and Kopi knows how good he is.
Speaking highly of players, Jake Reeves, a player you're quite keen on. How good is it to see him sort of flourishing this year with the captain's armband?
Listen, Jake Reeves, I was gutted to lose him when he signed for Bradford, but I had to do what was right for him because I attracted him to the club in the first place. And I said to Kopi, he's the sort of player when we was at Solihull I would take everywhere with me. I took him to Notts County. He'd had a tough time at Bradford. I just said, look, come and use me for a year, play at a big club and get yourself back where you belong. I still think he's probably better than this level, in my opinion, and I think he's the one that tips you over. He's got incredible energy levels. He's a great talker, and he's not only that, he's a great character. As a manager, he will run that dressing room how you want it run, and I'm sure Johnny loves him for that.
Watching from afar, how have you found the start? Four wins out of 5. Not a bad start, is it?
I think you've got good players. I think you look at the league, you look at the level, you've got really good players. I think, you some people say, we were disappointed with last season. I don't know what the expectations were, but it's difficult because Wimbledon have been in relegation fights more often than they have been in challenging at a top 10. So if everyone was disappointed with 10th and they feel like they've improved this season, then great. You hopefully you're in for an exciting season, pushing for the playoffs. I certainly think with what I've seen, you're capable of that. It's keeping injury free and sort of to key players and using the squad throughout the season.
You mentioned there, so we actually have looked over our shoulder. I said quite a few times. One season we didn't. We finished 7th. Obviously a fantastic day at Wembley. The only manager to get us promoted in the league. How was that for you, and how do you look back at that?
Well, with immense pride. It gets me a free meal when I come back, if anything, which I haven't eaten. I haven't eaten yet, thank you. But no, it's immense. I mean, the greatest achievement I ever had, and I don't think I'll beat it, was keeping us up in my first season. Honestly, I cannot tell you how many things weren't right. And we needed playoff form from Christmas onwards to get there, and we and we did, and I think, and I don't mean it's funny, I think if we'd have gone down, I'm not sure we could have recovered from that in what's a difficult league to get out of. So keeping them up, that was great. Getting them promoted was the icing on the cake, but certainly from my point of view, that was my greatest achievement. But again, we had a good feeling about that year. We really kicked on in the second half of that season. I think we're only 12th going into Christmas, and a couple of little tweaks along the way. Keller Roos and Darius Charles really just were the jigsaw pieces that were missing, and the second half of the season we went on a roll. So hopefully Johnny can do the same, but right from now all the way.
So Ipswich come to us, obviously just got promoted to the Premier League. Mad to think the last time we beat him here was in the League One, a 3-0 defeat in COVID. It's mad what Ipswich have done, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what their manager's done is incredible. I mean, it's beyond belief to go into the Championship and then take on big boys in the Championship and go again and not be lucky to do so. I think what he's tried to do now, by the looks of it, he's obviously a brilliant coach, brilliant manager. He's now looking at where's the balance of faithful to the ones that have done it for him and bringing in that real Premier League quality, because it's the biggest jump in all of football. So I think once you put that together, he's going to have to try and find a blend. I mean, I feel sorry for him. Liverpool at home, Man City away is not the start you want. Is
there any worse starts?
Yeah, it is, but I think in many ways it's kind of like the expectation, even probably from him and the board, would have been, okay, let's we know the games that we've got to try and tackle to get to the 40-point mark.
What do you see tonight? Prediction-wise, I'll take you back up, but Ipswich, is it important for them to win, to get back to winning ways, or is
this is the question, isn't it? Yeah. So I'll put you on the spot here for a prediction.
The Premier League is obviously their most important part of the season, but I do think that winning's a habit, and I think he'll want that good feeling back in the dressing room. I think their squad will be big enough to cope with a Carabao Cup run. So, and he wants these debut players to really shine and show that they're what they want. So, for me, I think Wimbledon will give them a really good game. I do think that Ipswich's quality should end up being too much for Wimbledon, but hopefully they'll push them all the way.